Did you know that worldwide bird strikes cause over $1.2 billion in aircraft damage annually? Welcome to AM Risk and Training, and let's dive into it. As air travel becomes ever more prevalent, so too does the challenge of managing the wildlife that shares our skies. This is particularly true in the case of bird strikes, an issue that has been steadily growing in tandem with the popularity of air travel. Picture this. The year is 2023, and air travel is coming back online after COVID. With the reduction in aircraft noise and increased air traffic, our skies are becoming increasingly crowded, and bird strikes are becoming more frequent. Now you might be wondering, is this a global issue? Indeed it is. From the United States to Australia, from Canada to South Africa, airports worldwide are grappling with the increase in bird strikes. In fact, various countries have reported a significant rise in bird strikes, leading to increased costs and disruptions in air travel. This isn't a new problem. The first recorded bird strike fatality occurred over a century ago, in 1912. Since then, the number of reported strikes has been rising steadily. This rise isn't just a minor inconvenience. Bird strikes can cause serious damage to aircraft, leading to costly repairs and delays. They can also tarnish an airline's reputation, leading to potential loss of revenue and customer trust. It's clear then that bird strikes are not only a global problem, but also a costly one. As we continue to rely on air travel for business and leisure, it becomes increasingly important to address this issue head-on. Through effective wildlife management and control at airports, we can begin to mitigate the risks and costs associated with bird strikes. The challenge is complex, but the solution begins with understanding the problem. We need to acknowledge that bird strikes are a serious issue, one that requires our attention and action. Only then can we begin to formulate effective strategies to manage this rising challenge. So, it's clear that bird strikes are not only a global problem, but also a costly one. Bird strikes are not a new phenomenon. The first recorded bird strike fatality happened way back in 1912. Since then, the issue has increasingly become a thorn in the side of the aviation industry. The history of bird strikes is a tale of feathered foes and airborne allies. Over the past century, the frequency of these avian encounters has steadily grown in sync with the increasing popularity of air travel. Today, we're seeing thousands of bird strikes annually, a significant rise from the isolated incidents of the past. The impacts of these strikes are far-reaching. They go beyond the immediate threat to flight safety, extending to considerable financial implications. Repairing aircraft damage, delays and cancellations, not to mention the potential harm to an airline's reputation, all add to the costs. The cumulative expense of bird strikes globally is estimated to be well over $1 billion annually. However, the monetary cost is just one side of the coin. The human cost cannot be overlooked. From the tragedy of 1912, there have been numerous instances where bird strikes have led to loss of lives. Take the Miracle on the Hudson in 2009, where a flock of Canada geese struck US Airways Flight 1549, leading to an emergency landing on the Hudson River. Thanks to the skill of the pilot and crew, all passengers and crew members survived, but the incident underscored the potential danger of bird strikes. These historical incidents serve as stark reminders of the consequences of bird strikes, prompting continuous advancements in wildlife management. Over the years, airports and airlines have implemented measures to mitigate the risk, from modifying habitats around airports to investing in bird detection technology. From the first recorded fatality to the most recent incident, bird strikes have remained a persistent challenge in aviation. But as we'll see in the coming scenes, the industry isn't helpless in the face of this age-old issue. Stay tuned to learn more about the evolution of wildlife management and how it's helping to keep our skies safer. But there's a solution to this costly problem: effective wildlife management at airports. Wildlife strikes pose both direct and indirect costs to airports and airlines. The direct costs are often easy to see, such as the physical damage to aircraft, the delays and cancellations of flights, and the necessary repairs and replacements. These can run into millions of dollars each year. Then, there are the indirect costs, which are less obvious, but no less significant. These include the loss of public confidence in air travel due to safety concerns, the reputational damage to airlines, and the potential loss of wildlife species. There's also the ripple effect to consider. A delayed flight here can lead to missed connections and further delays elsewhere, disrupting the entire air travel network. So, how can we reduce these costs and risks? The answer lies in effective wildlife management at airports. This involves a combination of active and passive techniques. Active techniques might include scaring away birds and animals, modifying the habitat to make it less attractive to wildlife, or using trained dogs or birds of prey to deter wildlife. Passive techniques, on the other hand, might involve designing and constructing airports in such a way that they discourage wildlife from settling. However, implementing these techniques is not a one-size-fits-all solution. Each airport is unique, with its own specific wildlife challenges. Therefore, each airport needs to conduct its own studies, develop its own wildlife hazard management plan, and tailor its techniques to its specific circumstances. The benefits of effective wildlife management are significant. It can greatly reduce the risks and costs associated with wildlife strikes. It can help restore public confidence in air travel and protect the reputations of airlines. And it can contribute to the conservation of wildlife species. Effective wildlife management is not just a cost-saving measure. It's a matter of public safety, a matter of preserving our natural environment, and a matter of maintaining the efficiency and reliability of air travel. It's an investment in our future. By managing wildlife, we can mitigate the risks and costs associated with bird strikes. The field of wildlife management has come a long way. Over the past century, the understanding of wildlife behavior, habits and habitats has significantly evolved. This evolution has been largely driven by the necessity to mitigate the risks associated with bird strikes at airports. Just as air travel has evolved, so too have the methods of managing the wildlife that can pose serious hazards to flights. Field research, for instance, has played a critical role in this evolution. Scientists and researchers have spent countless hours studying the patterns of birds and other wildlife, identifying their feeding and breeding habits, migratory routes, and even their responses to different stimuli. This research has been instrumental in developing more effective wildlife management procedures. Technological advancements have also played a significant role. Today, we have tools and technology at our disposal that were unimaginable a few decades ago. From radar systems that track bird movements to drones that can disperse bird flocks, these advancements have enhanced our ability to manage wildlife at airports significantly. But managing wildlife at airports isn't just about keeping the skies clear. It's also about understanding the specific species that frequent the area. That's why we've seen the introduction of species-specific strategies in wildlife management. This targeted approach allows us to address the unique challenges posed by different species, enhancing the overall effectiveness of wildlife management procedures. The revised manual we're introducing today is a testament to this evolutionary journey. It's a tactical guide, a tool designed to help wildlife management personnel navigate the complexities of their job. It provides insights into individual species, their behaviors, and the most effective strategies to manage them. The manual also emphasizes the importance of adaptive management, the idea that wildlife management strategies should be flexible and responsive, able to adapt to changing circumstances, and evolve as we learn more about wildlife behavior. In essence, the evolution of wildlife management procedures has been a journey of learning, adapting, and advancing. It has been a journey fueled by the relentless pursuit of safety and efficiency in air travel. With the right knowledge and tools, we can better manage wildlife at airports. And in doing so, we contribute to making the skies safer for everyone. Not all airports are the same, and neither are their wildlife management needs. The world is a vast tapestry, woven with diverse ecosystems and contrasting environments. From bustling cities to tranquil coastlines, each airport is nestled in its very own unique setting. Therefore, it's only logical that each airport faces distinct wildlife challenges, and the solutions to these challenges should be just as unique. Let's picture this. An airport situated by the sea might have to grapple with seagulls and other marine birds, whereas an airport closer to a forest might find itself dealing with a variety of mammals and birds of prey. This means that the wildlife management plan for the seaside airport might look quite different from that of the forest-adjacent airport. Just as the terrain varies, so too does the wildlife that calls it home. This necessitates site-specific inventories and assessments, a thorough process that involves identifying the species present, understanding their behavior, and evaluating the risks they pose. This valuable information forms the bedrock of any effective wildlife management plan. But this is where the art comes in. You see, wildlife management isn't just about understanding the science behind animal behavior. It's also about creatively tailoring solutions to suit the specific needs and constraints of each airport. It's about finding that delicate balance between ensuring safety and respecting the natural habitats of wildlife. For instance, a wildlife management plan might include measures like habitat modification to discourage wildlife from nesting near runways, or the use of deterrents like noisemakers or scarecrows. These solutions are not one-size-fits-all, but rather they are the result of careful consideration and a deep understanding of the unique challenges at hand. So we see that wildlife control is both an art and a science. It requires a keen understanding of animal behavior, an appreciation for the unique characteristics of each airport, and the creativity to devise effective, tailored solutions. By understanding the unique needs of each airport, we can create more effective wildlife management plans. And by doing so, we not only ensure safer skies, but also promote harmony between our airports and the wildlife that surrounds them. Regulations play a crucial role in wildlife management at airports. As we aim to balance the intricate dance between aviation and wildlife, the guiding hand of legislation becomes increasingly important. Our skies are shared with a diverse range of winged creatures, and as air traffic grows, so too does the need for clear, well-structured regulations to manage wildlife hazards. The proposed amendments to regulations, or Canadian Aviation Regulations, CARS, are a step in this direction. These amendments are designed to address wildlife management at airports more comprehensively. They offer a framework for airports to develop and implement their own wildlife management plans, tailored to their unique environments and challenges. Regulations, however, are not just about providing a framework. They also set the standard for what is expected from airports in terms of wildlife management. They establish the criteria for designated airports, ensuring that these airports have the necessary resources and expertise to tackle the issue of bird and wildlife strikes effectively. Moreover, these regulations encourage a more formal approach to wildlife management. Rather than relying on ad hoc measures and reactionary tactics, airports are encouraged to develop proactive strategies. This involves conducting regular wildlife hazard assessments, developing and implementing a wildlife management plan, and adhering to reporting and record-keeping requirements. The goal is not to burden airports with red tape, but to provide them with the guidance and support they need to manage wildlife hazards effectively. This proactive approach ensures that wildlife management is not just an afterthought, but a key part of airport operations. In a world where both air traffic and bird populations are growing, the need for effective wildlife management at airports is more critical than ever. And it's clear that regulations have a significant role to play in this. They provide the structure, the standard, and the support that airports need to keep our skies safe and shared harmoniously with wildlife. With the right regulations, we can ensure that wildlife management at airports is effective and consistent. Let's recap what we've learned about bird strikes and wildlife management at airports. Firstly, we explored how the rising popularity of air travel and the simultaneous increase in wildlife populations pose a significant challenge for airports worldwide. We learned that the reduction in aircraft noise and increased air traffic have inadvertently attracted wildlife, particularly birds, to aerodromes, increasing the risk of bird strikes. We then dove into the history of bird strikes, tracing them back to the first recorded fatality in 1912. It was highlighted how the number of reported strikes has been steadily rising, causing adverse effects on flights, financial costs, and even impacting airline reputations. Understanding the importance of wildlife management, we examined the direct and indirect costs associated with wildlife strikes. We learned that by implementing effective wildlife management plans, which include both active and passive techniques, these costs, risks, and damages can be significantly reduced. We also discussed the evolution of wildlife management procedures, guided by advancements in field research. We introduced the revised manual as a tactical guide for wildlife management personnel, focusing on individual species. Recognizing that each airport is unique, we emphasized the need for site-specific inventories and assessments. We learned that wildlife control is both an art and a science, requiring a nuanced approach to manage existing problems effectively. Finally, we touched upon the proposed amendments to regulations addressing wildlife management at airports. We underscored the need for a more formalized approach to wildlife management through established criteria at designated airports. As we've seen, managing wildlife at airports is a complex but crucial task, that requires a deep understanding of both the natural and aviation worlds. But this is just the beginning. This module served as an introduction to the subject, and there is much more to explore. Join us in the next module as we dive deeper into the practical aspects of wildlife management at airports. We'll be looking at specific techniques, strategies, and case studies that can help us better manage these challenges and ensure a safer, more efficient aviation industry.